God is moving. It's Young People Nation.
Welcome to Young People Nation. Listen to us weekly as we commit to bring transparency, healing, and truth to the everyday situations in life that might bring you down. Join us for your weekly dose of inspiration. Thank you for listening to Young People Nation. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And now, here's your hosts, Eugene and Donna Perry.
Let's go. Christ is the foundation. Know His word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Giving the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross.
Welcome back to session 3 of Young People Nation, and we're with Tiffany Hodge and David Mew and the Perrys.
Hey.
Young People Nation, and man, this has been so good, and we hope you listen to session 1 and 2. And these two are going to be really back because a lot of wisdom at this table. And I'm just listening and learning, and we're grateful to God, the community, the connection, because God always brings the right people in our path for what He's called us to do. So, in this session, single parenting from a female and male perspective, and you all introduce yourself briefly for those that didn't listen to 1 and 2, and then we're going to roll with it.
I'm Tiffany Hodge, licensed clinical social worker, founder of Tiffany Empowers. You can follow me on all social media at Tiffany Empowers or visit my website at tiffanyempowers.me.
I love her. I just love her. I just love her because you get the spiritual and natural with her.
Thank
and when
you.
you come to her for counseling, there's going to be some healing there.
Yes. We're going to do the work.
Yes, Lord.
David Mew, co-founder of Manhood Tour, Womanhood Tour, Diversion and Intervention Program.
Yes.
A 20-year veteran, Army veteran, cyber analyst by trade.
Yes.
5
you, sir.
kids, 5 girls, single father, loving life.
Yes, and I love his whole presence of being present with his children. That is so amazing. Yeah, and it lets women know that it is men out there like you guys, and your husband too.
Amen.
Your husband a very present father, very, very hands-on. So, okay, we're going to talk about single parenting from male and female perspective. Co-parenting. Now, that requires an art.
It is. It's an art. Yes,
Okay, so for the audience that you may have gotten married, it didn't work. We talked about it in the first session where you had children, in your teen years, but co-parenting. Let's unpack it.
Yeah. Co-parenting for me was not difficult, believe it or not. Ezra and I were friends, and we're still friends to this day.
Awesome.
And he understands me enough to know, okay, and I've always been like that, so just very cut off, that type of deal. I'll cut you off in a minute. So,
Jesus. Yes.
but I understood, and he understood that about me, and we worked well together. We understood that it wasn't working.
Yes.
But we still have these children together.
Yes.
And so he, and I was never the one to keep my children from their family. I just didn't think it was, I didn't think it was a smart thing to do anyway.
That's right.
And I needed all the help I could get. And so just being that, understanding his parenting style, understanding how I parented, but we always had a common goal in mind, and that was the best interest of the children.
Yes.
And so that's how we have always navigated our co-parenting. Even he's married to his beautiful wife, and she's always been there, very receptive of the girls, and understood that that's how we were going to operate, not stepping on each other's toes, just keeping the children as the focal point. Even though we could not make that happen, that doesn't mean we have to throw them in the fire because of us. And I think that we did a masterful job of that at such a young age.
Yes.
Even now, we still do it. Our daughters now have babies of their own. And, Ezra and I still talk, and
that's good.
He calls me knowing, okay, we're calling to discuss the girls.
Yes.
You know, and so, and I'll call him because we discussing the girls.
Yes.
And so everything is, again, it's focused on the girls.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so just keeping that relationship fluid for them, that also let the girls know we can't divide them.
Okay.
Even though they're not together, there is no division.
That's good.
And so, and understanding that this is what co-parenting look like. We can
Yes.
do this because, again, the focal point is the children.
Amazing.
Even at 15 and 17,
You all were able to do that.
this is what our focal is. We didn't make it, but that don't mean our children have to see us carry on like that.
Wow.
Hey, that's something you learn. You learned it easier than me. Mine was hard. I was just thinking about when she was saying that. I was like, okay. So my situation is a little different because I have 5 girls, 4 moms, right?
Okay.
4
God bless
different
you.
moms, right? And it's for anybody watching. Like, you better pick one and stick with one.
Okay.
Because co-parenting becomes harder and harder when you have different moms
Okay.
by different kids.
Okay,
Right?
yes.
My 3rd child, my first wife, which is with me today, 15-year-old.
Beautiful young lady.
That's when co-parenting really I started to really understand it. But I had some very challenging co-parenting scenarios with my first 2 kids.
Okay.
Right, and their parents.
Okay.
And, had to learn how to. One, you had to, when you're dealing with somebody that's young, you know, and they didn't understand what parenting is, so you don't know their parenting style because this is your first child. So you got to really learn somebody's parenting style.
Okay,
Right?
okay.
What they look, how they look at parenting. You need to understand that as a man. But and dealing with people that's disgruntled or hurt or pain and all of that, because these days it's multiplied with how baby mamas are trashing, their baby daddy and
Yeah.
vice versa, and
Yeah.
all this arguing and fighting, and you can't see the child. And I went through all of that.
Okay.
I had to get my children legitimized and joint custody and court after court after court. So that was a struggle. So I went through that with my first 2 kids and learning the hard ways to co-parent. Right?
Okay.
Having to get a mediator to come in and try to establish a parenting plan and visitation and all that. But then my 3rd child, I really learned it, and I understood that, hey, some stuff you can't respond to as a man.
Right.
Okay.
Like everything don't, deserve a aggressive response. And you got to understand that that's a woman, and respecting what, and try to find that middle ground.
Okay.
It's all about understanding.
Okay.
Once you figure out it ain't no right or wrong in parenting, it's more so understanding because their perspective ain't gonna be your perspective.
That's right.
Right? And you don't know how they were raised and what, formulated how they see raising their kids, A lot of people argue about right and wrong, but there's no right or wrong. It's an understanding and saying, hey, let's have the best understanding for this child. When you take out your sales and say, hey, what are we arguing about and what are we trying to accomplish, right? And you do that as men got to do that set that tone, like, hey, what are we arguing about and what are we trying to accomplish? Because a lot of women don't do that when they get upset. Some of them do.
Emotions get involved.
Yeah,
real
emotions
bad.
get involved.
You
But when you
watch out.
take all of that
Watch
out
out.
and get the understanding,
Yes.
understanding is
That's
way
true.
better than right or wrong. I feel so much better when I have an understanding.
Yes.
And you might not agree.
Yes.
Your way ain't always the best way. So when you say, hey, I don't want this done, or I want her to do this, and it's a way that you deliver it, and you got to say why. What's
Yes.
the benefits? What's all of that? Like, don't just talk just to be talking, but talk for the understanding. I learned that.
I tell you, and also I hear about taking the emotions out of things, because we as women, we're wired like that. We get emotional, but I know, like, my husband's
Really?
helped me, yeah, because he's not an arguer. He's not. He'd be like, Donna, in our younger years, he used to tell me, he said, listen, I ain't coming to that party, okay? You and Satan over there, I ain't coming, okay? Now, when you ready to come and talk with me, we can talk. But all that, and just walk away.
Yeah, but one of the biggest things is first of all, respect. And the other is, it's no winners or losers. It's only solutions.
That's right.
Hey.
There you go.
Yes.
Hey.
That's it.
Hey,
What's the
that's a
solution?
word, ain't it?
Ain't no one to salute.
Yeah.
Solution.
What's best for the child?
Yes.
And so, and on that note, one thing I noticed with both of you all, and the importance of not speaking negatively about the other parent.
Yeah.
Right, most definitely.
Because the child at the end of the day is the focal point. So whatever they're not doing, that child will figure that out later in life.
Right.
But talk about the I'm gonna say the danger of talking negatively, like your daughter's here, if you talk negatively about her mom.
That's
I
a
experienced
cold
that.
dish.
It's called. I looked it up. It's a court term for that.
Okay.
You know, because I experienced
Defamation
that
of
a
character.
lot. No, not defamation of character. It's called parent alienation.
Oh yeah.
Parent alienation, and that's a big thing. I mean, in order to prove it, it's you just got to have records and phone conversation, emails, or something like that, or just somebody, a counselor, actually knowing how to talk to that child and getting it out of them. But parent alienation is a big thing because a lot of women don't know that they're doing it, and some of them do know, intentionally. Men too, right? When they it's simple as if you know that the parent isn't always present or not gonna show up or something like that, right? But you say, hey, call your dad. But you know this about this person, and then that child called, and now the child is disappointed because they didn't get what they were looking for to get, right? Well, the parents set that up. The parents set it up for that,
Oh, wow.
And so you ain't had to bring the dad in this or the mom
Right.
in this, they were the child was asking you,
Yes.
not the other parent asking you for these shoes or you for this jacket or whatever it may be, but you instead said, I do all this. You need to call your dad.
Okay.
That's not good. That's not
good.
healthy.
That's right.
Wow.
That's not healthy.
That's right.
And that's a form of parent alienation.
That is some wisdom there.
Yeah.
Y'all better be listening.
Yeah. Only speak about what you can do.
Right.
This is what I can do. This is
Yeah.
I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
I
is
can
our
answer
area.
this.
Yeah.
I can do that. And that's the thing about parenting. And I'm gonna as like my father, he's passed away, but like to your point, my grandmother knew my father wasn't gonna come. She would let me pack my bag and sit on the porch and wait for him.
Yeah.
But she never said anything about it.
Wow.
Right.
But set you up for failure.
No, she didn't. No.
Didn't say anything.
She's letting
Let
me.
her do.
She's letting me go
Yeah.
through the motions.
Experience.
But she didn't say.
But she didn't say, he's not
He's
coming.
not. Yeah.
You know he
he's
ain't
not
showing
coming.
up.
See what I told you.
See what I told you.
Yeah.
She would never do
Wow.
that. And but at the end of it, you know what she would do? She would say, "Come on inside, and let me get you something to eat."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never once said anything about it because she knew as I got older, I
They
would
would
see for
learn.
myself. And that's what you have to do as parents. I don't have to berate that person. I don't
Not at
have
all.
to point out their flaws and their shortcomings. You don't have to do that because as they get older, they will see it. And so then when you get old enough to ask, what was that about? Then you get old. Whatever the answer is, but nobody set it up. So it never becomes a bruise to you. It's like, well, my daddy wasn't there, and my daddy wasn't this, and my daddy wasn't that. Nobody ever said that. I was able to formulate my own thought
Right.
about his presence or absence.
Okay.
And then I was able to say, well, what was that?
Right.
Nobody ever set it up for me, even with my mom. Nobody had to say anything about she was there, she wasn't there. As you get older, you see it. And then you, as the adult, can address what that is. That's
Wow.
why it's good not
Yeah.
to speak negative about anybody's situation and using children as pawns. to make us look like we're better parents than they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I only speak about what I do.
That's good. This is wisdom.
Even being married, we can do that. You can.
Yeah, yes.
Where's
Yeah,
your
they
daddy?
do that, yeah.
Where's your
Yeah.
father? You seen your father?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, don't you know where he's at?
Hey,
No, I
that's your
told you.
man.
Told you
Yeah.
you weren't gonna be there.
Uh-huh.
It even happens in marriage, and we cannot do that. And so, just being able to say, well, I'm here. What can I do for you? How can I help you?
Yes.
Because you don't know what's going on that
Right,
other
you
end.
don't.
Wow. This
You don't.
is
So don't be negative, because guess what? It's gonna come back to you.
Yeah,
Really,
it is.
Yeah.
it's gonna slap you more than it's gonna slap the
It-
person
it
that
sure
you're talking
is,
about.
yeah.
wow.
So don't do that. That's
Yeah, that's
not
bad.
cool.
That's bad when they live up to the expectation of that. Because it was an old saying I used to say, they are who they say they are, don't let them off the hook.
Yeah.
But I tell you, and we already done finished with this third session because I want to keep going. But man,
Time flies.
so right, and so alienation
Parent alienation.
is when you. I just want to. Is what is that again now? Y'all say that.
This is parent alienation. So it's when you talk bad about the other parent in front of the child, or try to berate, or try to make this child feel a certain kind of way about that parent by what you're saying. And you don't even have to talk to the child about it. You could be on the phone with someone else talking about the parent, but know the child is in the room and hearing it, right? But now you saying whatever you saying, say you angry with the parent, right?
Yeah.
And you just, this MF and, you know, this and this and that. So now the child sees your anger and see you crying and see you upset about this parent, and you saying bad things about this parent. What do you think that child's gonna do? It's gonna be upset too. It's gonna
Yes.
feel that same pain, gonna feel that
Yes.
same anger. Right now, you just alienated, because now when that parent, the other parent called and try to talk to that child got this attitude or this something with them, right? And you don't know what's going on, but the parent know, the other parent know what's going on because they set that up, you know?
But listen,
knowing or unknowingly.
Yeah, yeah.
y'all will be back. Okay, 'cause this needs to be talked about.
That's it.
I'm just gonna leave a couple of hotlines and then Mr. Perry, but this needs to be talked about because this is wisdom. Thank y'all so much. 988 hotline, text 741-741, free 24/7, and do not suffer in silence. 911. Mr. Perry.
You know, in life, stop trying to look for good while knowing the truth. What they present to you is exactly what it is. This has been Young People Nation, and remember, there's always hope.
Christ is the foundation. Know His word gon' lead us. Know I'm already going. Taking steps I believe in. Giving guidance to the youth. Giving guidance to the lost. Giving the world to the project. Lead them back to the cross. He the #1 prospect. He the top boss. I was broke, I was empty. He the one that paid the cost. Really thought that I was cool. There was nothing like the Savior. Now it's time for the truth. The whole world been waiting. It's Young People Nation. 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 The whole world been waiting. Whatever you going through, I know what he gonna do. No matter the circumstance, we going back to the root. Keep going. Let that seed keep growing. You need peace and we know it. Now it's time to live holy. Young People Nation. You know what time it is. Young People Nation. Get ready, the time is here. Get ready, we vibing here. We about to let God in here. Young People Nation. It's Young People Nation. Yeah, do it for the heavens, you know where we going. Influenced by His love, you know we gotta show it. It's time to put the youth on to what God is doing. Cause I can tell you now, right now, that God is